Hey everybody, welcome back to Growing Up Chestnut. I think everybody think we ran away because we missed.
Well, it's
Oh,
nice people were asking about us.
I know. We got to get our. It's so hard to get schedules together sometimes.
Summertime. Yeah, exactly.
We're just so important people that
Really
everybody
are.
wants. We're
That's
in such demand.
I know.
It's it's hard to. Let's see.
I know.
But
But I,
I keep telling Amber I have to give the people what they want though.
yeah.
So that's the important part here. Uh, so anyways, today we are doing, let me pull it up here if I can. Oh, here it is. Preacher Blunders. This is probably going to be one of my favorite ones to really talk about
Probably too
because
many.
first off, I want to ask our friends to do us a favor too with this, okay? So we we have so many pastor preachers kids, evangelist kids, and family that we've grown up with. And so you guys, you have these stories just as well as what we do, and some facts some funny ones. So I'm hoping that you guys will share some of them in the link.
Hopefully their
Uh
memory's better than ours. Woo.
well, hopefully, but man, there has been some funny stuff happen. And so we want to try and keep this to 30 minutes today so we don't have a lot of time. So we're going to start off. What constant theme. We always talk about the Noble families, always somehow involved in our conversation. I'm
Yeah,
not really sure why that is, but
they're in our face.
let's start off with a Martha Noble story.
Yeah, I think that's where I got this story from, and I've heard it so many times, um, and I think they were at the actual service because sometimes you hear a lot of stuff is hearsay, but now all of a sudden it disappeared. Let me find it. But Michael,
What?
here it is. I think. Um, Jamie's got the best memory of us all. Trying to figure out some of this. Um,
Well,
anyway, I'm
Jamie's
gonna
got a
read,
little bit of Rella in her if she's got
but I'm
stories because she can make them up too.
but I'm gonna read the Noble family, and I don't know how early in the uh, ministry that this happened, but I remember them telling the story that they were at this preacher, and he was reading verses in the Bible, and they was like they trying to figure it out, and he was saying, and it's in Matthew, but he said, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full." And they're like sepulchres, but this is how it actually reads: "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full." So, but I think all through there he has to say the word sepulcher, and he says sepulchres. But the funny thing, I know, and the funny thing is, a few years back, we were in a meeting, and they read this same passage. This is how I know this passage because I'm like, but he didn't say sepulchres, but it was pretty much close to it. And I mean, I could not control myself. And Bill's like, "What is wrong with you?" No, was it? No, that was another one. Jamie's trying to tell me who it was. But anyway, I just think we're not going to say names, but I think it's hilarious. That always cracked me up every time I hear that story. And I'm pretty sure it was Martha Noble that was telling us it. But
Yeah.
so,
Well,
and my kids we're in church and we hear a lot of these, what do you want to call it, goof ups. And my kids would always start laughing, and it was like, and then uncontrollable, and then they're trying not to,
right.
it's when you're trying not to laugh, it makes it worse.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. Well,
and the
and
truth is
especially us because
we shake.
we snort sometimes when we
We
laugh.
snort and we shake, and the pew's going like crazy. It's like great. I mean, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it is. My favorite moments were family camp at Hoosier Hills
Yeah.
because
Woo-hoo.
one, you never knew what Doyle was going to say. Um,
Nope.
you know, but like, so it was one year long. What's his name? Dawson, Lauren Dawson. Was that his
Oh
name?
yeah.
And he preached on pecans, something about
I think
pecans.
that was
And he
Schaffner.
kept calling,
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah, Schaffner. What was his
Brother
name?
Schaffner, yeah.
And he was talking about pecans, but he kept calling them pecans. And Doyle got up after and said, "Well, Bless God, no wonder the South lost the war. They couldn't find their pecans, you know, and we're just like cracking up. Like, where did he come with this stuff? You know, and then remember the one family camp, you know the story probably better, but a bunch of people had come
Yeah, spent their
there and,
vacation. I was telling. Spent their vacation, and they
yeah,
even left their offering and decided,
yeah,
they
because
were
on Thursday night, there was always the
yeah,
big offering for camp, which
yeah,
basically funded the summer because honestly, Hoosier Hills didn't charge very much for these kids to come there.
and they were
So,
great. They were great memories.
yeah. So Thursday night was really big, but these families left Wednesday, but it's their vacation. They've already been there through
For sure,
Wednesday.
on vacation.
Yeah. And so they all left. They went to Gatlinburg to Dollywood. And I think that's back when Dollywood just first started.
Yeah, it's pretty much
Op- she opened it and stuff like
pretty
that.
popular.
And Doyle gets up there
He's so
on
upset.
stage and he's mad that Thursday morning. He goes, "Yo!" Oh, he gets on one of his rants. I always love when he rubbed his head too. Take his hat off, rub his head, and all that. I'm not gonna rub my head. I just got my hair perfect today. And he do that, and then he goes, "Y'all tell me what." Y'all going to Gatlinburg. You tell me what's Dolly got that I ain't got. And I remember everyone's like, and Miss
And then
Doyle,
he
you hear Mr. Goyle, "Oh,
the
like
dad
that,
says, "Sit
yell at
down,
my
Doyle.
dad."
Sit down, Doyle."
Yeah, because dad's behind Doyle, ready to speak, and dad's like, "Doyle, just sit down and be quiet now." It's like, and everybody's just cracking up. But he would say some of
Oh
the
yeah.
we had teenage week at camp. We had teenage boys there, and this one boy, Kenny. Now this is how I remember it. I can remember the kid's name. That's how embedded this is in my memory, okay? This kid I've only met one time. I remember his name because of what Doyle did. So they were playing. He was in the Ferguson with Donnie and Bobby Ferguson. He was in I don't know, Bobby or Donnie's cabin. And we were playing soccer or something, and he broke his leg. They had to take him to
Oh,
the ER. And he comes back. By the time they get back, we're in the tabernacle for our evening service, and here comes this kid Kenny in crutches and his broken leg. He sits in the back. He's sitting back there with Donnie, and Dole gets up there, and goes, "Oh, look, poor Kenny back there. Yep, the doctor said he broke his third leg today." Like
please don't tell me that.
Donnie Ferguson. Because me and Donnie
Sure.
were really best friends when we
Yeah,
were
I know the
working at
Ferguson
camp
boys.
together. Donnie comes, so I'm all the way in the front row. Donnie comes running up and slaps me on the back, about knocks me out of my chair, going, "Chestnut, did you hear that?" We were dying. We were dying. But one of the best sermons ever preached
I hope you're going to tell the one I think you're going to tell.
at camp was by Jack Reese.
Yes. Yeah.
So Jack
There you
Reese
go.
was a Jewish pastor, and he
Speaking to
came
teenagers.
and yeah. So this is let's
Another.
set this up. This isn't family camp where you've got adults. This is teenagers where you've got teenage boys. And Jack Reese gets up there and he starts off, and I can impersonate him too because this I don't know if I can because my cheeks are hurting from smiling so much. But he gets up there and he goes, he goes,
You know.
"Oh," he goes, "Brother Dole, I want to preach tonight about the butts of the Bible." And he goes, "Brother Doyle,
Great message.
Moses had an important butt, but God lifted him up. He said, Doyle, you have an important butt. Boys and girls sit out there, you want to have an important butt of the Bible." And he just was going, and I am telling you,
Yeah.
you're teenagers and you're talking. Now I get what his premise was, but Moses was lifted up but we are seeing butt and laughing so hard. My stomach was hurting so bad. And what's bad is I'm sitting on the front row because I'm always the shortest one there. I loved it when Robbie Paddock lived there, worked there because he's the only other one that was smaller than me. And I have to sit in the front row, and you know, you didn't want to be the first one to crack up because Doyle might get mad, And I'm like, it was just, we just had some funny moments with some of these sermons that they preached to teenagers.
It's hilarious. Very
So,
hilarious.
but you've got some too from the roads. Like, I want to hear the termites in the pulpit.
Yeah, when you're on the road, you hear a lot of stories, and sometimes it's not what you hear too; it's what the other, evangelists or families
Right.
hear. But we did have like when Chris pastored in Kentucky, every Sunday morning there was a radio broadcast on, and I loved listening to it. I mean, I just loved it, and I loved the preacher preaching him, and he had one of those old country voices, the growl and stuff, and
Yeah.
we had the opportunity of having him in our church. I was like almost like starstruck. You're like, ah, but he ended up being a character boy. I'm talking about a character, but he was like, he was telling that he said that he told his song leader, he said that he didn't want the women in the pulpit in the choir wearing any more pantyhose. Is it the heavy women wearing the pantyhose? And he's
Say
like,
it. It was, he said, the fat women.
the fat women could not wear pantyhose, and he's like, I can't tell the ladies they can't wear pantyhose. He goes, no, the fat ones. He said, well, when they get in there walking in, it sounds like termites are eating my pulpit. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, I kind of know that sound too anyway, but it's kind of a bigger church. But he was telling that they had a lady that she only had one arm, and she sang all the time. And he said, tonight's her last song. I want her to sing one song. That's it. She can sing the unseen hand. And she's sitting down with. That's where over it. He said, because that's all everybody looking at when she's singing. They're just like, they're not hearing her voice. They're saying, where's her arm? It's so stupid. But they also called him like a cussing preacher. And we were in a lot of meetings after we finally got to meet him. We would run into him. His wife.
I know
and
who
him,
you're talking about. I can't remember his name though.
John Rollins, and his wife and him. They were in our home set, slept in the house. I mean, they were so funny. She had a birthday, like she turned 80 while they were there, and he was telling me, have you ever kissed an 80-year-old woman? It's like kissing sandpaper. I mean, he was just hilarious person. But anyway, so Chris introduced him to, because somebody else just loved him. And I'm like, yeah, I think I can get him to come to the meeting. So they got him come meet him. Then later on, we're talking about, hey, you don't know what he's going to say. You never know what he's going to say.
He's a wild card.
He is, but he really was a good preacher. He said, so right before he preached, Chris preached before he got up there and preached, and he preached on Peter, and so when he got done preaching, and then had the rest of the service, whatever music, whatever, it's time for him to preach. So he gets, and that preacher's like scared to death because we started telling him stories. He's like, oh no, oh no, oh no, I don't want it. This. It's like, yeah, well, So anyway, he gets up. The first thing he said, that was a good message. He said, I like old Peter. If something need cussing, he'd cuss it. I was like, oh my word, like, he just. And so that preacher's going down, like he's sliding down in his pew, like, oh no, no, no. But I can't even. He was hilarious. Yeah. Never knew what he was going to say.
No. But there was a couple in our circle like that you never, they were wild cards, and you're just like, and sometimes some of the things they would say, you would sit there.
And like,
I'm not going to, we're one of, I don't want to say who said it. People will know anyways, but
you laugh and you don't know. You're like, sometimes you're just uncomfortable. Like, what? What did he just
say?
Well,
one of them preached a message on, can a guy go to heaven if he had a heart transplant? Because the Bible said you ask Jesus into your heart. And that was the sermon. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
what? And
Yeah.
Dad was with that minister that said that with
Mm.
Lee Robertson, who they all, you know, he was a bigwig, Lee Robertson,
Yeah.
and then
Right.
Lee Robertson was at our house with that, and Dad said, "Go ahead, tell him that sermon you preach." He goes, "Well, think about it," and Lee Robertson looked at him. Did you really preach that heresy? And I was like a kid going, "Oh yay, I love it," you know.
That's what that was best fun when you would like it after, like if you were a bunch of evangelist missionaries and preachers, and at the end of the
It was
night you
at
sit
night.
around and just talk and laugh and have a, because I mean
My
we
favorite
had so
time
many
is mission
preachers.
conference.
Yes, well we
Mission
had
conference, after we get done, I liked it better back in the early days when it was because we
70s
could
and
all be
80s.
at the table,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that, and
Well,
then it got kinda big.
we'd sit on the floor and watch, sit down and listen to all the preachers talk and laugh. I mean, mom and dad let us stay for a certain time, and as
Yep.
long as we were respectful. There's a few
Well,
times. There's a few times you
as long
weren't.
as we didn't pull a Christy Noble and tell all our stories to
Yes.
to
Or your
everybody
rooster
that was
talk. We
there.
had, yeah. But I mean, when you think about, we had a lot. I mean, a lot of great.
Oh my
I think about Paul Levine was my favorite, and the one where he had his legs crossed and he was swinging his leg, and your cat, the one that died that we were talking about the other day, Tyner that got killed, and I'm sitting on the piano bench and he's just talking and swinging his leg because he was the
I
track
forgot about this.
ministry. Yeah, he's did that track ministry, and he's swinging his leg, and part of his he's a skinny man, and part of his sock was rolled down, so his skin was exposed, and all of a sudden the cat just went for it, just and
Grabbed it
he's like,
because that cat was
ah,
crazy anyways,
mom was so,
and that was
yeah,
funny, man. I forgot about that.
yeah, oh, not me.
So,
I was like, but we had a lot of good preachers and memories and hilarious happenings, and you know,
oh, and, you know, just I remember one time so just some of the funny things that would happen at church and stuff like that was, like, the time that, dad is preaching up there. He has now dad usually didn't have very many blunders, right? But when dad did something, it was either go big or go home, you know? And so dad was one of those preachers, he never ever left the pulpit. Dad always
right,
stood behind the pulpit. He didn't go run them and all that stuff,
right,
you know?
kick his leg and stuff.
And this is the first night that dad really got rambunctious in his message, and he came out and his fly was wide open. But not only was his fly wide open, part of his shirt is sticking out of the fly, okay? Now, I'm young. I'm in elementary school, and mom writes a note for me to take up to give to dad because dad people are
I
snickering
remember
and
this.
dad is standing out in front. I mean, this and which is uncommon for him, to be honest,
Very
because we
much
had a
so.
big pulpit. And I walk up there and dad's, son, what you doing up? Kind of because I'm interrupting him. Is this so important? And I'm just like, don't shoot the messenger, like give this to him. And he goes like this, and mom's sitting there, and she goes, so dad's like, and walks behind the pulpit and goes, and, and everybody broke out laughing because it was like everybody
Everybody knew.
knew.
Everybody knew. And
So,
that is crazy. I forgot about that. I
but I
totally
remember
forgot.
the first time Clarence Dole came to our church. Clarence Dole came to our church and he got on a running fit. Do you remember that? And he ran around the church like 5 times, and then he jumped on the front row um
Pew. The pew.
pew, and
Mhm.
it flipped.
Did you ever hear the story about where he was at a church, and I don't know where it was at. I remember him telling us about it, and the pews were old, and the front pew, and they dipped. You know those old pews before they were
Mhm.
padded, how they dipped. And he said there had been a kid or a person sitting there, and he got to preach, and he wasn't thinking anything of it, and they had scooted over, and he was preaching. He threw his Bible down, his preach, and it was in a puddle of pee.
Oh,
Did you ever hear that one?
no.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. There
Oh
are
yeah.
so many funny stories with Brother Doyle, though. I remember at
Oh
camp,
my goodness.
some of my favorite stories was so we had a problem with this little horse, Apache. It was a pony, but Apache was a mean little devil, right?
Right.
And smart as a whip, you know? So Doyle comes out there. We were in the process of saddling. We got them all saddled, but Apache wasn't, okay? And so freaking this so Doyle comes out there, and I had got the saddle on, but it wasn't and I
Safe.
had gotten it on, but I hadn't tightened it yet, and but it was on good enough, and he comes in, he goes, "Yep, brother Doyle, come show you boys how to ride this pony. You got to know how to ride a pony." He's like, "Bunch of little sissies we're bringing up over here," and he gets on top of that horse. Well, that horse, Apache reared
I
up like
remember
that,
Patsy.
and the saddle just went with Doyle, and that horse took off, and Doyle's just sitting there on the saddle in the ground, just going, "Who's saddled it?" Well, I was trying to tell him it's not saddled, it's not, but don't interrupt me when I'm talking.
Oh
And
my
that
goodness.
was great. It
I
was
know.
great, you know.
Well, camp has got a
So,
lot of stories. I mean, great stories. That's where we met a
oh,
lot
I,
of preacher families that we all knew. You know,
oh yeah,
just
yeah, and I loved family camp, just because that's when you know, when we would see all of our evangelist friends together, and stuff, and then always had great stories and things like that. Missy Taylor, she told me she had said something one day on there. She goes, "I remember every time we came to your house, we had to watch that movie, Private Eyes, with Don Knotts, Don
we kind of
Knotts
lived with
and
obsession for a while.
Tim Conway. Remember that
Yes,
was Dad's favorite
yeah, it was
movie,
an
and we
obsession for
had
a while,
every time someone came to our house, they had to watch that movie.
but it was funny. It was a funny movie.
It was a good movie. In fact, I tried to find it the other day and I couldn't. I was like, you know, but anyways, no, we had some. It's some of you people out there, you got to share some of your stories with us because we would love to hear it. In fact, it's time, Becky. We need to start looking for a
Reaching out.
guest.
I know I've had a great month because I was at Brooks with seeing her and the kids, and then had a little bit of a kind of break. And Wes and Leela with and the and grandkids with them were here this weekend, and I've had a great time. So and then but my computer and stuff was not working, still kind of not working. I've come over here and borrowed Jamie's, so I'm having some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And
We'll get them all worked out one way
yeah.
or another.
So yeah, we don't have our act together right now, but we have had a lot of people asking, "Are you not doing it anymore? Are you not?" So
Oh, I know.
I know.
So we're trying to get this
I
figured
actually,
out.
yeah, I actually left work earlier than I wanted to today to just so we could get some of this down. So we were just trying
Yeah.
to and wing and a prayer. But yeah, we have some cousins because they're that are chestnuts. We have some cousins that are readers
Hmm.
that are related to these chestnuts and have come
Yeah.
great stories. We've got some aunts and uncles, and so we want to hear from
And
some
we
of
are
you.
all the products of
And
our
we got a brother
parents.
Greg somewhere, and I hadn't talked to him in a while, so I got to get a hold of him.
I didn't know he was still alive. Is he
I
still around? I think Tammy's buried him underneath
yeah,
their
and
new
Gracie, I got to
house.
see Gracie girl was here the other day, so
Oh,
um,
really? I know
yeah,
I missed
not
her
for
and I
very
miss Wes and
well. They
Wes
had
and
it was
Leela being here.
PCC was having graduations, high school and college, so everybody
Oh,
was
wow.
down for a little bit. So and Gracie knew somebody graduating, and um, Leela's sister's oldest son was graduating from the high school part, so.
Wow.
But I enjoyed it. So so this was on the last thing on my mind. I was busy with grandkids come first. Sorry.
Yep. But we're gonna get a pattern down.
Yeah.
As long as at least Missy Taylor's watching us, we'll still do it.
Yeah, we got Miss.
You know,
Yeah, woohoo for Missy! But we got to get Sharon on because she says
we
she has some
do.
great stories. If we can try to get
I've
Jeannie,
seen I've seen Donnie Noble on here a couple times too. Now
yeah,
I know he knows some stories, but him and Jeannie,
oh yeah,
I'm friends with Christy. I should reach out to her and say, "Hey, Christy, you still like telling your family stories?" You know?
but they know some chestnut stories, and we get. I mean,
Oh gosh.
the one thing about our family is when we were growing up that, I mean, no matter what happened in our family, and we had some. I mean, we had our fair share of stuff, but our family just our dad and our mom. My mom was so she was so
People
sassy and quick witted,
people
and
knew Dad for being funny, but they didn't realize
mom
how quick wit Mom was.
very
Mom
much
was
so.
quick.
I always said mom spanked you with your tongue and you didn't realize it until you walked away and then you went, because you'd be going, wait a minute. Did
Hey,
she,
yeah.
did she just
Mom
spank
was
you?
like Marie Barone on
Yes.
Everyone Loves Raymond. She had a way of giving you a compliment with a criticism in it, you know?
But yeah, so our family, I mean, we dealt with things with humor. We saw how mom and dad dealt with things and how mom and dad were very hospitable. They were,
Well, and they're honestly,
they loved people.
yeah, and
Just to
you
be
know,
honest.
either you laughed or you cried at some of the things that, you know, they did helping people in their ministry, you
And mom and
know?
dad were very much mission minded. They still, dad's still very mission minded, and
Yep,
they taught us a lot, but
yep. And
and they
we need
introduced
to
us
get
to a lot of friends and families and preachers, and
and Dad wants to get back on here. He's
I
got
know
some stories he
got to
wants to
get dad
share.
back on here. It's been driving me crazy, and he's written
He
stuff down. He's got
he's
stuff
got
written
a
down.
whole notebook of stuff he wants to share with you all,
Well,
and I'm not joking you.
he started a memoir a long time ago, and he's trying to dig them up to tell some stories. But I mean, they're good.
They're real. Some of the stuff I was like,
Yep.
and then I'm like, I barely remember because I was small, you know,
Not only that, it
stuff
gives
that you
him a little
remember.
pep, and he's sporting that beard.
Oh, I know. So
Yeah.
we'll have to. I think we can't do it for 2 more weeks, but maybe in 2 weeks I'll set up the
Yeah,
camera
because
over
he's
there
gonna
and
pout
we'll
on us if we don't.
do it. Oh, I know. So, all right. Well, we got to go, but it was great to catch up with all you guys. Please, this is Preacher's Blunders. Put some stuff in the comments, some of the stories, especially you evangelist kids and preachers kids. Your dads did some stuff, Let's get you
You've done
guys,
some stuff.
not me. Oh, them. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
they.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes, they have.
I mean,
So
you got the Gilberts. I can think of so many of these kids that we
the
all grew up.
cruises. Oh my
Cruises,
gosh.
yeah. I mean, come on, people, wake
Yeah.
up.
Yes. Start sharing the love. So, anyways, well, it was good to see you all, and we will see you. We will be here next week. All
Yep.
right. Bye.
Bye.